The problem is, I do not believe you are the same person as in your passport photograph.
Welcome to a bad recap of The Terminal, a movie about a man who isn't allowed to leave an airport. Oh, he's just like me because I'm on the no-fly list. Anyway, this is Victor, and he just landed in the US of A, baby. Probably came straight from Jeffrey's Island, but that's beside the point. He gets taken aside by border protection people and told that his country, Krakosia, engaged in some tomfoolery and no longer exists.
Revolution. You understand?
You're a little toxic, kid. Please.
Turns out he doesn't speak a lick of English, probably the real reason the Americans denied him entry. Now, I'm not brave enough for politics, but basically America doesn't recognize the new government of Krakosia because they're probably lame, so Victor can't enter America, nor can he fly back home. He's like a child of divorce and neither parent wants him. Relatable. Once set free in the airport, Victor finally learns what has happened by watching the newsfeed on the TVs. To vent his sadness, he breaks the little girl's suitcase and flees her parents by clipping into the back rooms. Outstanding play. He turns a random section of the airport into a sleeping area by, well, destroying it, and goes for a but gets woken up by Big Plane. Oh, what an alarm. I usually just get woken up by my wife filing for divorce. The next day we find out that the head border control guy is getting a promotion to become the new airport commissioner. You know, the guy that goes around and ensures there's piss on all of the toilet seats. He gets warned about the inspection process and told to ensure, let's say hypothetically, that there are no Eastern European men living in the airport. Whoopsies. Bro is showering in a sink, in an F1 towel. He then spends the entire day filling out the correct forms to get a visa, only to be reminded by the officer that he doesn't have a country. Well, that would have been useful information at the start of the day when he handed you his first form. You bitch. Later, the CEO of Border Control sets up a devious scheme to get rid of Victor. He tells him that at midday the guards will change their shifts, and for 5 minutes America will be unguarded. What he doesn't tell Victor is that he has the airport police waiting outside to arrest him for being foreign. Kind of a dick move, but we all do questionable things for that promotion. I once killed a man. Anyway, Victor doesn't fall for the trap because he's suspicious he's being watched. Yeah, very subtle dickheads. So he edges them by repeatedly approaching and backing away from the door, eventually declaring that he will wait. Later we see a woman slip on some wet floor. If only she'd been warned. Victor helps her out and thinks he may be in until he sees her run towards a man. Don't worry Victor, it might just be her dad. Or her brother. Meanwhile, the cleaner is getting very suspicious of the man living in the airport and tells everyone he's CIA. But of course no one believes him because he's old and short. Victor then discovers the luggage trolley return machine that pays out 25 cents for each trolley returned, allowing him to make a handsome $5.50, which he takes straight to Burger King. Good luck Victor, you can probably afford half a burger and a shit on your chest. All that? Nowadays that would cost $11, or $8.50 if you threaten the staff. Later Victor is trying to read the news but can't because it's boring, and in English. So he starts to learn the language, allowing him to stay up to date with the news about his country. It also allows him to drop some serious game with the visa officer, claiming that since she can only either accept or deny his visa means he has a 50-50 chance of being let into America. The same logic I use to justify my gambling addiction. There is a 50-50 chance my wife comes back. Everyone is in awe of Victor's ability to talk to a woman, including me, and also including this man, Enrique. He approaches Victor with a trade deal. You see, he's afraid of talking to women but really wants to date the visa officer, so asks Victor to play wingman in exchange for food. Victor can't really say no because man's hungry, so immediately starts doing recon. One day, while relaying the information, he starts to beep. Oh god, he's gonna explode, there's a bomb! Turns out it's just his pager calling him for a meeting with the head airport man. What? He gets told he can become a refugee and leave the airport that day if he claims he's seeking asylum from his country, but he refuses to badmouth his home. This angers the airport man, who really wants to get rid of Victor, because if he stays any longer, he may just fall in love with him. Later, Victor runs into the woman from earlier, who's upset because she's just broken up with her boyfriend. Now, as previously established, Victor has impeccable game, so she asks him out for dinner in the Big Apple. Obviously, Victor can't leave the airport, nor does he have any money, so he has to turn her down, but instantly starts looking for a job around the airport so he can afford to take her to dinner the next time he sees her. That evening, he finds a section of the airport that's under construction and decides to cook, staying up all night doing renovations. He did this because he wanted a wall? I don't know. He gets caught by the construction crew in the morning, who are so impressed by his work that they hire him on the spot. They do now have to modify all their blueprints to match his design, setting the project back weeks, but Victor made a nice wall. What were they supposed to do? One evening he receives an invitation to play cards with Enrique the cleaner and the bagman. God, I do hope it's strip poker. Nobody gets naked during their game, God, unfortunately, and instead they play for items left behind in the airport. This is called stealing, and I fully support it. The FBI inspection to greenlight Airport Man's promotion from man to airport takes place, with Victor being put into a cell because the Geneva Conventions are only suggestions. During the inspection, they catch a man smuggling drugs inside of walnuts, which they break open one By one? Ugh, bloody amateurs. But the inspection is interrupted when a Russian man is found with unregistered prescription drugs on him, and with no interpreter at hand, they have no choice but to turn to Victor. The man doesn't have a medicine license, so can't legally leave the country with the pills, and after unsuccessfully begging, he gets pinned to the ground by multiple officers and dragged away. Oh, thank you, America. Why have they left the pills with Victor? He's homeless. At that moment, Victor commits a wee bit of tomfoolery and claims he misunderstood the man, and that the medicine is actually for a goat. Oh, the goat. This means that since the medicine is for an animal, the Russian man wouldn't need a license and could walk free. Obviously, the Americans can't hold the man anymore. I mean, they probably still would, but this is a movie. The head of the department knows Victor is lying to let the man go, so physically assaults him in front of his superiors. God, poor guy thought he was a police officer. The story of Victor standing up to the entire immigration force spreads throughout the airport, with everyone now viewing him as a legend. But the head of customs really hates him because he might cost him that promotion. To try and reconcile, Victor offers him a big fish he won gambling. Quite literally laundering stolen goods, but hey ho, I've laundered worse. But the man is very stubborn about disliking Victor and tells him that so long as he's working at the airport, Victor will never step foot in America. How petty. Later, Victor and his friends break into some office to find out when his flight attendant woman friend will land back at the airport. Victor is now a homeless international stalker, construction man, and part-time drug smuggler who showers in a sink. Fucking legend. We find out he has 3 weeks till she lands back, so he buys a nice suit in preparation. We also find out that his cleaner friend fled from India because he tried to kill a police officer. To be fair, the officer was asking for taxes, so he did deserve it. Eventually, Victor's lady friend lands at the airport, where a clever set of obstructions direct her straight onto Victor's lap. They go out for dinner at a fake restaurant run by all of Victor's friends, where he confesses that he lives in the airport. Of course, she doesn't believe him because he's wearing a very expensive suit, and probably smells really good from the shower he had in a sink. But the day goes well, and they schedule to meet again in 13 days. One evening, Enrique asks for one last favor. You see, he's bought a ring and oh my god, he's proposing to Victor. I lied. He actually asked Victor to help him propose to the visa officer. I don't think he's spoken to her yet, just stalked her from a distance for months. But if I've learned anything from this film, it's that being creepy towards women is fine. I mean, that seems to be the takeaway. But the two of them actually get married. Oh, how wholesome. A few days later, the woman arrives back at the airport. I should probably refer to her by her name instead of the woman, but I don't want to. She gets taken aside by customs, who tell her the truth about Victor's living arrangements. Oh, way to snitch on her brother, dickheads. You know what they say, snitches get put in Transformers 4. She goes to see Victor, very upset that he's homeless and living in an airport. Understandable. To try and make it up to her, Victor shows her the gift he made, a beautiful wall inspired by the gift that Napoleon gave his wife. She isn't too fond of his gift because Napoleon is French, and worries that Victor may have fled a mental institution. I mean, he comes from Eastern Europe, so basically. He then tells her why he came to America in the first place and why he's so determined to wait. He's on a mission to continue his father's legacy and get the autograph of the last jazz musician from a photo his father saw in a newspaper. Kind of a lame legacy mission. I mean, my dad had me complete his war crimes in Southeast Asia, but to each their own. Hearing this heartwarming story touches the woman, and she and Victor finally share a kiss. A few days later, Victor gets woken up by the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and gets told that his country is no longer at war. His woman friend also pulls some strings to get him an emergency one-day visa, allowing him to go out and get the last autograph before returning home. But unfortunately, the visa needs to be signed by the supervising officer. It's time for the final showdown. Victor demands that he signs his visa, but the very petty officer strong-arms him into leaving America instantly. He tells him that if he doesn't get on the next flight back to Krakosia, he'll fire all of his friends for illegally gambling, letting people into the food preparation area, and killing a man back in 1979. So a disheartened Victor sets off for his plane, apologizing to his friends for not completing his mission. The cleaner especially is very upset about this, calling Victor a coward and a pussy, until an officer tells him what the head of customs did. This encourages the cleaner to make the ultimate sacrifice, 1v1ing Victor's plane to get it delayed, buying him enough time to get his autograph. This gets the attention of everyone working in the airport, who swarm Victor with gifts and best wishes for his excursion. This is how I feel leaving the house to get milk. Little do they know I'm never coming back. Victor gets to the front door but is blocked by the airport security, who in a twist don't arrest him, instead giving him a coat and encouragement. A very wholesome moment, but Victor doesn't have a visa and just committed a crime. Take him away, boys. Victor hops in a cab and sets off to find his last autograph.
Do you like jazz?
What is this, a crossover episode? Victor finally gets his last signature, completing his father's mission, and gets back into a cab. The driver asks him where he wants to go, to which he responds, I am going home. Now, I have no idea where the fuck you live. And the movie ends. Great movie. I enjoyed the part where Victor flew into the World Trade Center, and my favorite character was easily Bess. I'm assuming this one in The Office. But yeah, if you enjoyed this recap, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Thank you ever so much for watching.